3 Michelin stars, the best of the best. Today I'll be dining at Le Bernardin to see if it's truly one of the best restaurants in NYC. It wasn't that hard getting a reservation, but I had to get it 1 month in advance, and I got a 5 PM time slot. Make no mistake, this restaurant does fill up, but if you want to dine here without a reservation, try walking in at the bar or lounge. It's 3 Michelin stars, so I had to dress sharp. I don't even wear this to work. If you want the best experience at Le Bernardin, you gotta get the tasting menu. The tasting menu often changes in what's offered and price. When I went, it was $325 per person before tax and tips. Before the tasting menu starts, you get these free appetizers, a chip with sashimi, a potato, and a lobster bisque. Let's start with the sashimi. It's simple and delicious. The fish is fresh and the roll adds a nice pop and extra burst of flavor. If I had to give it a rating, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Next is the potato. Yes, it's really a potato, and I split it in half to verify. The potato is warm and comforting. It also just melts in your mouth, and it's very easy to eat. Maybe it's because it's freezing in New York, but it was a good potato because it was warm. If I had to give it a rating, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Finally, the lobster bisque. It's recommended to enjoy it by taking a sip first before using the spoon to get to the lobster pieces. It's not hot at all, it's room temperature. It's very flavorful, and I thought it was the best free appetizer. They're actually pretty generous with the lobster pieces. I honestly expected a lot less. The lobster is so tender and delicious. If I had to give it a rating, I'll give it a 10 out of 10. The first course features hamachi sashimi with some pickled mushroom and watermelon radish on top. They then pour some citrus daishi on it. Hamachi, or also known as yellowtail, is highly prized for its rich flavor and tender texture, so let's see how the broth can enhance it. This dish is meant to be eaten with a spoon, since you want some of the broth to go along with your fish. I love sashimi, and I was blown away by how the broth enhances it. The broth has a nice savory umami flavor, and a distinct tangy flavor from the citrus. It's not too overpowering, and it still lets you taste the rich and tender fish. It had a very Asian flavor profile, and I wasn't expecting this from a French restaurant. I enjoyed it, and if I had to give it a rating, I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. If you saw the bread on the side before, you should know that there's unlimited bread at Le Bernardin. I tried all of them, and I think the brioche is the best. It's soft and buttery, and it's flakier than I thought. It does get a bit messy. In second place is the focaccia. It's spongy and delicious. Make sure to use the butter, it's super rich and silky. Butter really does make everything taste better. In third place is the raisin bread. It's soft and sweet with a crispy exterior. Last place goes to the baguette. It's hard outside and soft inside. I think it would be better if it was less dense. The second course features royal red shrimp from Montauk with a bouillabaisse broth. I knew it was high quality shrimp when I was able to smell how fragrant it was before they poured any broth. Speaking of the broth, bouillabaisse is a French fish soup that's very flavorful. Make sure to enjoy it by itself after eating the shrimp with it. I actually tried the shrimp without any soup in the bite first. It has a delicious natural sweetness, and it's very soft and tender. The natural sweetness is still there, even when you combine it with the savoriness of the soup. If I had to give it a rating, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. The third course features baked salmon with royal etc. caviar, topped with some horseradish emulsion. The waitstaff used a spoon to pour the horseradish sauce on it, which is some nice attention to detail. The salmon looks absolutely amazing, and it's so tender you don't need a knife to cut it. The fork is more than enough. I first tried a bite without any caviar. The sauce and salmon work together in harmony. The sauce is rich and has a strong umami flavor that pairs well with the salmon and doesn't overpower it. Next, I'll try a bite with some caviar. Let's see how I can make the salmon even better. I thought the sauce and salmon already had strong flavors, which overpowers the caviar taste. The caviar adds a nice pop, but the flavor gets drowned out. Despite that, it's amazing, and if I had to give it a rating, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. The fourth course features Maine lobster with truffle gnocchi. The sauce is a natural jus à poivre, which is a sauce made from juices that come out of the meat that's cooking, and pepper. Maine lobster is known for its sweet and tender meat, so this is going to be amazing. Everything's already cut up for you, so there's no need to cut it yourself. When I took a bite into it, I was blown away. It was sweeter than any of the boiled lobsters I had in Maine, and it still had a savory taste from the sauce. This instantly became my favorite dish so far. As for the truffle gnocchi, I thought it was alright, and it didn't have the strongest truffle taste. It's not the main attraction though, and if I had to give this dish a rating, I'll give it a 10 out of 10. The fifth course features halibut from the North Atlantic with some baby vegetables. The sauce is a jus de viande, which is a broth that's made from the juices that come out of the meat that's cooking. Halibut is known for having a more mild taste, and it doesn't have that fishy taste, so it's perfect if you don't like the fishy taste. Halibut's also lean, dense, and firm, but they steamed it very well since it's tender and you can easily cut it with just a fork. The fish is tender, but it's not quite melt in your mouth like the salmon. I know halibut is a more mild fish, but I feel like it could use some more flavor. Maybe they can pair a better sauce with it to add more flavor. Also, the vegetables are pretty and add color, but not exactly mind-blowing. If I had to give it a rating, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. The sixth course is the final course before dessert, and it's grilled hiromasa with roasted maitake mushrooms. The sauce is a bone marrow red wine bordelaise, which is a classic French sauce. Hiromasa has a good mix of lean meat and fat, and it can work well with many cooking styles. The fish had a perfect balance between lean meat and fat, and allowed the sauce to shine. The sauce is strong and bold, but it still lets you taste the slightly sweet flavor of the fish. Let's try the mushroom next. The mushroom has a nice meaty flavor, which is exactly the type of mushroom I like. If I had to give this dish a rating, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. The seventh course marks the start of dessert, and it's a palate cleanser. It's a green apple sorbet, so you know it'll be sour. As I expected, it's refreshingly cold and a bit sour, but it does its job well as a palate cleanser. It did its job, and the presentation is nice, so it gets a 9 out of 10 rating. The eighth course is a warm Peruvian dark chocolate tart with vanilla ice cream. The presentation is impeccable, and it's very pretty to look at. I love dark chocolate more than milk chocolate, and they made a great choice. I know some people don't like eating too fast, but I suggest you eat it fast, before the warm chocolate melts all the ice cream. The warm chocolate tart pairs very well with the coldness of the ice cream. The chocolate tart still has the bold dark chocolate taste, and it isn't too sweet, even combined with the ice cream. It's the perfect dessert to end the meal. It gets a 10 out of 10. Before the final bill, there's some extra free desserts, and they ask you if you want some coffee or tea. I thought these desserts were alright. They couldn't compare to the dark chocolate tart though. Anyways, here's the final bill. After a 20% tip, the total will be over $400. This restaurant's definitely a splurge for special occasions unless you're rich. Here are my final thoughts. The service is impeccable, and they pay attention to every little detail. They switch utensils during every course, so flavors don't unintentionally mix. I really enjoyed the food here. It felt like the recipes had been perfected. My one minor complaint is that I feel like there weren't any creative risk. I'll describe the food as timeless perfection, and maybe I'm too young right now to appreciate it. A lot of the 2 Michelin star restaurants have creative dishes that blow you away and make you question how they came up with this. There weren't any dishes at Le Bernardin that fit that previous description. Aside from that minor complaint, I think Le Bernardin is a great splurge for a special occasion, especially if you like seafood. Thanks for watching. Have you ever dined at a 3 Michelin star restaurant? Leave a comment below and check out the video on the end screen for more food content.